A very good evening to all of you. I hope I am visible and audible. Let me know. Okay. A very good evening again, and I welcome you again to this third session of RC Techniques and Practice. I am Nikita. I hope you know me by now. And in the previous two sessions, if you remember, we talked about how to read. That is, we read to grasp the key ideas. I also demonstrated it to you through the RC passage, how to grasp the key ideas. So today I'll leave that majorly upon you to grasp the key ideas. In the second session, we focused a lot on the structure, the skeleton of the passage, how the various paragraphs are interconnected, how an author builds their arguments, right? That's what we focused on. Okay, so just give me a hi, hello, so that I know that you're here. Yes, I can see 14 of you here. Just give me a hi, hello in the chat box. Hello Pramodini, a very good evening. Hi Shivam. Okay, still facing an issue in comprehending the paragraph, in comprehending the passage. That's okay, Shivam. It is, as I say, it's a muscle. When you flex it every day, it builds up. So, if let's say you are still facing an issue, see what precise issue is it? Is it that, let's say, I don't understand a particular word? Is it that I don't understand one sentence and then that hampers my understanding of subsequent sentences? See how important that sentence was for the subsequent sentences. Is it that I'm not able to understand entire paragraphs because I have not read that genre a lot, right? I don't enjoy reading that genre a lot. Maybe I'm losing concentration. So see, all of these are different problems. Words pertains to vocabulary. The genre being unfamiliar, that's a different problem. Concentration, that's a different problem. So you have to zero in on the problem. One thing that I always advise my students, always keep asking the why. Drill it down to a very specific problem. नहीं समझ में आ रहा, क्यों नहीं समझ में आ रहा, why? क्या नहीं समझ में आ रहा है इसमें? Okay, this word, okay, why this word is not clear to me? So keep on asking the why and drilling down to the very specifics of a problem. Okay? All right. Hi Shubham. Hi Preetikana. Good evening. Hi Kay. Hello Shivam. Losing the focus while reading the passage, Anand is saying that, and I absolutely understand that, Anand. So just give me a second. Let me just write a few things down. So concentration or losing the focus, why that happens. See, one is that I'm not used to reading I'm not used to reading, in fact, right? Or maybe I'm not used to reading such lengthy RCs, such lengthy articles. That could be the case. So if I'm not used to reading something long, then it's a problem of attention span. And that is something that you improve only by putting yourself in that situation again and again. अगर मैं बस इस बारे में वरी करती रहूँगी ना दैट इतना लंबा है, मेरी तो कॉन्सेंट्रेशन ही नहीं लग रही, एंड आई स्टॉप रीडिंग, देन दैट वोंट इम्प्रूव. सो द ओनली सोल्यूशन इज दैट आई read more and more articles, right? Read relatively lengthier stuff. I'm not saying that straight away start reading a 4,000 word article. That won't help. So if let's say you feel that 500 से ज़्यादा नहीं हो पाता, then on let's say day 1, try to increase it incrementally, 550 words. See how much you remember. Okay, after reading the passage, see how much you remember. Maybe you remember just 2 points out of 5. That is fine. Next day, again read those 550 words, a different article, and see how many points you remember, right? And gradually then, you increase the length of the article that you read or length of the pages that you're reading from a book, and gradually you see whether you're improving in terms of retention or not. ये retention होती है, कितना याद रहता है मुझे, right? So, as I said, when you identify the problem, you are also able to identify the solution for it. Concentration अगर नहीं लग रही है तो क्यों नहीं लग रही है? Is it because of the length? Then this is your solution. Is it because of some other distraction that is running in my mind? Then of course you have to address that. And if it's a chronic problem, let's say मुझे ना आदत ही नहीं है इतना लंबा रीड करने की, या मैं थोड़ी सी भी देर ज़्यादा रीड करती हूँ तो आई गेट डिस्ट्रैक्टेड. सो when it's an acute problem, you know what I recommend to students? Set alarms. So let's say 3 minutes का alarm लगा लिया. Now that alarm is going to ring after 3 minutes, whether you've read the article or not. Okay, if it's a lengthy article, 2 minutes के बाद का लगा लिया, it is going to ring. So it will bring you back to reality. Yeah. So as you, I mean, identify what your specific problem is, and there is a solution for it. Okay. All right. My voice is coming loudly, is it? Okay, I'll speak relatively softly then if it's loud. Do we need to read the entire passage in Eon? I understand, 3,400 words, 4,000 words, 4,500 words. That's long. So what I recommend is that you can split it into 2 sittings. But yes, if you read the entire article, then you'll understand the entire argument. Because see, the entire article, through that entire article, the author is trying to make one argument there, right? There is a purpose, it's a whole article. उसका एक मैसेज है. वो मैसेज हमें पूरा कब समझ में आएगा? जब हम वो पूरा पढ़ेंगे, right? Okay, let's see anything else. I can understand the first few and last few paragraphs. Okay, but जब elaboration रहता है वो समझने में थोड़ा tricky लगता है. Okay, so see, elaboration अगर है, if they are just details, right, they are not really contributing any major point, any key idea, तो वो बहुत word by word हमें समझने का need भी नहीं है, प्रीति करना. Okay, so if let's say you are getting the gist of it, that's absolutely fine for us. As I said, word by word understanding or 100% understanding of every detail not required. Okay, perfect then. Any other query that you have? Let me just dismount my mobile. Yeah. Any other query? I hope I've read all your comments. Okay, then let's begin with today's RC passage. Now, again, the source is Eon Essays, right? It's a 553 word excerpt from a larger article that I have picked. The genre of this is zoology, to be precise, the study of animals. And why we are doing this? Because you do get zoology, ecology, biology related RCs in your exam. They do appear. So our focus today will be on understanding this passage, and I will leave it up to you to identify the key ideas. I think because you are saying concentration is a focus, let's address that today, right? So let's try to read with the purpose कि मुझे समझना है ये सारा, ठीक है? तो आज हम speed पर इतना aim नहीं करते हैं. Let's try to understand whatever is being said, and if something is not clear to you, you can ask me. Okay, and then we have some good questions today. Okay, so it's a moderate, in terms of questions, it's on the moderate side, not on the easy side. Okay, all right. And one question that I wanted to address, some students asked me on Telegram as well that should I read the questions first or the passage first, right? So let me demonstrate it to you. See, it depends on you what works for you. तो आज क्या करते हैं? Let's see the question stems once, and we'll see then whether reading them first helps us or not subsequently. ठीक है, तो question stems देखते हैं. Okay, so question 1. Which of the following states the findings of the study conducted by the author of the passage? That means we are going to talk about some study. That's the only help that I've got from here. All of the following, if false, would strengthen the findings of the Dutch research group. That means passage में जब Dutch research group की बात होगी, I have to pay attention. Okay. All right, Dutch research group discussed in the last paragraph. So, okay, this is also told to me, right? All right, the third question, all of the following, if true, would weaken the findings of the experiment conducted by the primate researcher Tony Ziegler and colleagues on marmoset monkeys except. So, again, when this appears, this particular experiment appears, by Tony Ziegler, I have to pay attention. Last, which of the following set of key terms best captures the essence of the passage? So there's a question on the essence of the passage. Doesn't help me a lot, but it's there. So tell me something. What do you do? Does reading the questions first help you? And reading the passage first and then reading the questions, that's the way you go. Right. So here we saw that it helped us regarding two particular things, the experiment by Tony Ziegler and the Dutch research group in the last paragraph. I have to pay attention to those. So, as I said, if this works for you, then read the question stems before the RC by all means. But don't read the options, right? You won't understand much because you've not read the passage and it will make you biased beforehand. So read the question stems if that helps. If you feel it does not really help me a lot, दो questions में तो help हुआ ही नहीं, दो में ही हुआ है, then you can go with the RC passage. If you ask me what I do, I read the RC passage first and then I go for the questions. Okay. Now, let's begin. These are your first 3 paragraphs. Read them and grasp the key ideas, leaving that to you today. Yeah. Read? Understood? All right. So, I'll just fleetingly show you the key ideas and we'll proceed. So, these were the key ideas. Okay, let's move to the next paragraphs. Read? Just give me a thumbs up once you're done. Done? Are you there? Okay, Sayanti says yes. So, as you can see, the wording of this passage is not difficult. It's not a difficult read, but there's a lot of information that you have to remember. It is information dense, right? So, you can choose. For example, this bit here is just a background information about male marmosets, right? So, as somebody mentioned earlier that वैसे याद रहता है पर बहुत सारा elaboration याद नहीं रहता है. It's okay if you speed through this, right? Okay then, let's proceed. So, Tony Ziegler and colleagues, I have marked this because there is a question later on this. So, I hope you read this bit with a lot of focus. Okay then, next. Okay, done. Again, keep on giving me thumbs ups so that I know. All right, great, Mihir. So, when you attend RC sessions, be distraction free, close the other windows. I hope all of you are with me, reading with me. Okay, shall we move to the next slide then? All right, so these were some of the key ideas here. The last slide. Good. Others? So I had highlighted Dutch research group for you already. I hope you've understood what is being said. And before we come to the questions, this passage has a number of studies, right? It has a number of studies. So can you quickly tell me which all studies on which all organisms does this passage talk about? That will tell me how much you have retained. Yes. Which all studies have we discussed? And what is the main study? That also you could tell me. You could just mention one word. That will also. Okay, perfect. So birds, it talked about some established research on birds. Okay, it didn't discuss a lot of details about it, but it did mention it definitely. Monkeys, yes, marmoset monkeys. In monkeys also, a particular type, marmoset monkeys, where the male is actually the primary caregiver, right? Humans, right? And how many studies on humans have been discussed? How many studies on humans? So, May says 3 to 4 studies. Yeah, having this idea is also enough. So, our main study is also a study on humans, or is it on monkeys? Is it on marmoset monkeys? Because marmoset monkeys has been talked about a lot. So, is that the main study? Our main study is on humans, not marmoset monkeys. This is a common confusion that students have. Okay, so it's mentioned right in the beginning. The first study, what did it find? That in human fathers, the testosterone levels were 20% less than in human non-fathers, right? And it also mentions another study that took place in 2011, right? It also talks about another study on humans that took place in 2010. So our study, even our study also has, it's not one study, it's actually 2 studies, because in the beginning it says our first study, and then it also talks about the other study. So a lot of studies here. That's why I said that it's an information dense passage, but not really difficult in terms of words, right? So let's see the questions now. Now that I know, good, Harshita, that's good that you've grasped this. So see, you have grasped the broader topic here, that it's about human parenting, and especially in fathers. We're talking about fathers here. Is it VRC or biology? Okay, so you'll realize how it is VRC. Let's come to the questions. Okay, so question 1. Which of the following states the findings of the study conducted by the author of the passage? Yes, let's see what you say. I don't think that should be your concern, Jat. Okay, I've got B, D. All right. Okay. Okay. Pramodini says C. Okay. Others? D. All right. So 4 Ds so far. Okay. B. All right. Anybody else? Okay. So I think there's a confusion between B and D. Now, as I said, my intention with this passage was to make it moderate to difficult in terms of questions, right? So, this question here, let's look at all the options. The study conducted suggests that fathers experience a significant increase in testosterone levels. Is it upon exposure to infant scent, promoting mating behavior rather than caregiving? This is outrightly false as per the passage. This should have been eliminated, and I'm happy that nobody said A, right? In fact, they experience a decrease in testosterone levels upon exposure to infant scent. Okay. B. The research findings indicate that fathers with lower levels of testosterone, okay, all right, and oxytocin tend to be more involved in caring for their toddler children. See, lower levels of testosterone, yes, but higher levels of oxytocin. See this? That's why I even highlighted this for you. We made another important find. Fathers in our study actually had higher levels of oxytocin, which promotes paternal caregiving. So this is again false. It's talking about lower levels of oxytocin. So it should have been higher levels of oxytocin. False. Okay. Perfect. Now, coming to C and D, the study indicates that testosterone might interfere with human male parenting, adding to research in this field on primates and birds. Right. Now, let's see if this in fact is indicated or not. Yes, let's go back. So, see this. Such findings, so this is from another research here, this research that was done on marmoset monkeys, right? Then Ziegler and colleagues, they again did something on marmoset monkeys. So this research is being discussed. Now it says that such findings led to an idea, जो marmoset monkeys वगैरह पर हुई, that testosterone might redirect energy from parenting to mating in humans too. So this idea formed. Then it says that evidence came for it, and then it says our own research into human fathers adds to the story as well. Right? So you see in which direction we are going. Okay, primates से idea लगा कि हाँ humans में भी ऐसा हो सकता है. Right? From there we got this idea, and now we are talking about research studies that deal with humans. This 2011 study, and then it says our own study as well. So isn't it adding to the research in the field? So we already have studies about birds, about primates, and then this is contributing to research on humans as well. So this human study is adding to this previous research. Is this clear to you? Any query, please ask. Okay, now it says that what we did, let's see what we did. That means the authors of the study, this passage in fact, we asked mothers to tell us how involved fathers were in caring for their toddler children, and found that men with higher testosterone tended to be less involved. So isn't this an indicator? I'm not saying it's a proof. Doesn't it indicate that testosterone may be interfering with the involvement in children, with paternal caregiving, with parenting, whereas men with lower testosterone were more involved? So yes, this study does indicate this. Okay, so option C may be correct. Let's compare it with D and then we'll mark our answer. The research demonstrates that fathers have 20% less testosterone compared to non-fathers. Absolutely correct. So this bit is absolutely correct. Now it says thus indicating. Thus. When do we use thus? When there is a cause-effect relationship. So the effect will have thus. When there is a premise-conclusion relationship, the conclusion will have thus. Yeah? So is this an effect? Is oxytocin, are oxytocin levels an effect of testosterone levels? Does the passage draw this cause-effect relationship? Tell me. बताओ jaldi बताओ. That will tell me that you're listening to me. Cause-effect relationship है इसमें, that lower testosterone levels indicate a positive correlation between oxytocin levels and paternal caregiving. Not at all. So while this has been said, correct, while oxytocin levels have been discussed, there is no cause-effect relationship. D cannot be our answer. Okay, C is our answer here. The study indicates that testosterone might interfere with human male parenting. Adding to the research in this field on primates and birds, it is contributing further body of knowledge. I hope this makes sense to you. Why C is the answer? And excellent, Pramodini, you marked C. Alright, so I hope you've understood the logic. Right. Question 2. Let's see this. Now, I'll explain the question stem to you because it's a complicated question stem, right? And CAT sometimes does ask such complicated question stems, जिसको थोड़ा सा process करना पड़ता है, right? All of the following, if false, अगर ये सब गलत हैं, if all of them are false, then they would strengthen the findings of the Dutch research group. What does that mean? That if they are true, if all of them are true, they would not strengthen the findings of the Dutch research group discussed in the last paragraph, except. That means that three options here are not strengthening something. One option is strengthening the findings of the Dutch research group. You have to tell me what that is. आपको ये find out करना है. So basically it's a simple question that asks you which of the following strengthens the findings of the Dutch research group discussed in the last paragraph. Okay, and in case you want to go back, right, then, and you want to read the paragraph on Dutch research group, just tell me, we can go back. In fact, let's go back. That's what I would do. Let's read this. All right. Now, okay. Tabish has answered. Harshita has answered. You have to give me one option that strengthens the findings of the Dutch research group. Mihir says B. Others, yes. There's no negative marking here in the chat box. B, A, all right. A couple more responses I need. There seems to be a competition between A and B. Anybody who says C, D? No? Just 5 responses out of 22 students who are here. That means some of you are holding back your answers. All right. So, these options are also, long options. That also adds to the effort of reading them. However, it's also an opportunity for you because long options में कई बार ज़्यादा scope होता है गलती निकालने का. Yes, it's easier to find mistakes when there are a lot of words. So, A, the fathers who received oxytocin. So first, okay, let's do one thing. First, let's see the findings of the Dutch research group. What were their main findings? That when they were given oxytocin, that means when oxytocin levels were higher, they were more involved with their children, we could say. There was less hostility. It promoted paternal caregiving. Can we say that? So, oxytocin promotes paternal caregiving. And another finding that's really beautiful is that when father's oxytocin increased, then children's oxytocin also increased. This also happened. So these are the 2 findings that we are dealing with. Yes, 1, 2. In critical reasoning questions, it helps to approach questions like your question stems like this. Findings पहले लिख लो, देख लो, सोच लो क्या है, right? It depends on you whether you write it, whether you think about it in your mind. Now, the fathers who received oxytocin through a nasal spray had pre-existing higher levels of oxytocin compared to the fathers who received a placebo treatment. Now see, if they had pre-existing higher levels of oxytocin, now that means that our administering are administering the oxytocin did not have an effect. उनके already for XYZ reasons उनका oxytocin already high था. Okay, so if that actually then hurts my experiment as a researcher, if my subject already comes with the hormone that I am trying to administer, then this impact may be because of those pre-existing levels and not really because of my nasal spray that I administered. Right? So it will not strengthen the findings of the Dutch research group. Does this make sense? Those who marked A. What is placebo? Placebo is when you don't receive an actual treatment. Okay, when you don't receive an actual treatment, okay, you are just given some medicine which has no medicinal properties in it, right? So for instance, in this experiment, they'll be given a nasal spray which will not have oxytocin in them. So why do we do that? Just to compare whether oxytocin is really having an effect or not, right? Because अगर बिना oxytocin वाले group में भी paternal caregiving promote हो रही है, that means it's not because of oxytocin, right? So that's a placebo treatment. And if in case you're a Harry Potter fan, so you know the luck potion. So there's this incident when Ron thinks that he has been given the luck potion when actually he has not been, but he performs better because of that. So that's a placebo effect that's operating in his mind. उसको लगता है कि उसको मिला है जबकि उसको actually में नहीं मिला होता, but it still leads to better performance. Okay. Yes. So is this clear to you why A is not the answer? We can always argue about this. You can always tell me you're not convinced. Okay, something seems off. We can always discuss. That's the beauty of VRC, right? B. The infant's increase in oxytocin could be attributed to genetic predispositions. So the oxytocin increase that happened in the kids, that could be because of their genes, or that could be because of environmental influences. Now, what are the environmental influences? It tells us, including people in the environment with increased oxytocin levels. So, am I not supporting this second finding here? I am saying that the children could have got an increased oxytocin level because of the people in their environment who had an increased oxytocin level. I am right away supporting this. Right? Okay. C. Although nobody marked C and D, but yes, we'll discuss them. The Dutch research group did not account for the father's previous experience of familiarity in interacting with their children, which could have influenced their behavior during the play session. So I am saying that this experiment, it's a little flawed. Why? Because these fathers are already playing with their children. No, at home also they may be playing with their children. So it could be this previous familiarity that led to this paternal caregiving and not really the nasal spray with oxytocin. So this is definitely weakening. Right? So this cannot be the answer. D. Oxytocin administration through a nasal spray may have potential side effects that could impact the father's behavior and interaction with their children during the study. So I am saying that this oxytocin that we gave them through a nasal spray, it could have some side effects, and these side effects, not really oxytocin, it's the side effects and not really oxytocin itself. क्योंकि हमने वो एक नेजल स्प्रे के थ्रू दिया था तो उसके कुछ साइड इफेक्ट्स हुए विच लेड टू दिस एंड नॉट रियली ऑक्सीटोसिन. सो अगेन आई एम कास्टिंग अ डाउट ऑन द रिजल्ट्स ऑफ द स्टडीज. मैंने डाउट क्रिएट किया है. सो दिस इज नॉट स्ट्रेंथनिंग इट, इट्स क्रिएटिंग अ डाउट. परफेक्ट. एवरीबडी इज अंडरस्टूड. कोई सोया तो नहीं है. एवरीबडी इज अवेक. वेयर इट इज टॉक्ड अबाउट इन, सी इट इज टॉक्ड अबाउट हियर. Finally, and most remarkably, infants whose fathers were treated with oxytocin experienced an increase in oxytocin themselves. So, infants also experienced an increase in oxytocin. Thus, oxytocin seemed to initiate a positive feedback cycle that promoted father-infant bonding. कि father में हुआ तो infant में हुआ, so it seemed to be cyclical in nature, a positive feedback cycle which promoted bonding. Okay, Shivam? All right. Let's go to the next question then. Question 2, the answer was B. Question 3. Again, let's process this question stem first. All of the following, if true, that means अगर ये true है, would weaken the findings of an experiment, except. So 3 options will weaken the experiment, will weaken the findings. One option will not weaken. One option will not weaken the findings of this experiment. I have to find that one option. जो weaken कर रही है उसको eliminate करना है. I hope this is clear. Tony Ziegler and colleagues, their experiment on marmoset monkeys. Do we want to go back? All right, let's do that. Let's reread this and then attempt. Read the whole of it from when till non-fathers. Okay, I think I've given you ample time. We will go back. Yes, attempt. Okay. All right. Attempt through elimination. If you go by elimination, this question is not difficult. All right. I've got 6 responses. What are others doing? So 4 of you say C, 1 says A, 1 says D. Nobody says B. Yes. B, everybody eliminated? Testosterone levels in fathers of marmoset monkeys remained unchanged when presented with the scent of an infant. ये तो weaken करेगी ना study को. Because it was clearly seen in the study that testosterone levels in fathers, what happened? They decreased when presented with the scent of an infant. Because, it was as if there was a message that please direct your attention to caregiving, not to mating. Yeah? So this is weakening the researchers' experiment. All right. Now, C is the answer. Excellent. Those of you who have marked C, I am happy that you could eliminate others. A. The scent of an ovulating female marmoset had the same effect on testosterone levels in non-father adult male marmosets as it did in fathers. See, the whole point of this experiment was to show that testosterone levels in fathers and the responses of fathers to certain events as compared to non-fathers is not the same, right? So, testosterone levels, I hope testosterone, yeah, I spelled it right. See, fathers they rise less as compared to non-fathers when they are presented with the scent of a female. तो अगर हम कह रहे हैं सेम इफेक्ट है that means testosterone is not really associated with fatherhood. Yeah, which is what this study found. So this is clearly weakening the study, and therefore it's not the answer क्योंकि ये weaken कर रही है. Okay, I'm happy nobody said A. Now D. When presented with the scent of an ovulating female, the testosterone spike in fathers of marmoset monkeys correlated positively with an increase in their caregiving behaviors. This is not just, weakening this experiment's findings. It's kind of questioning the whole passage, right? The passage is saying that increased testosterone means, probably less caregiving. Okay, and here I am saying that increase in testosterone is positively correlated with an increase in caregiving behavior. No, this cannot be the answer. This is again weakening this experiment as well as some other studies that are mentioned. So it is C that is our answer. Now some of you may have got confused because of these words. Yes? Did that happen? That some of you felt that because of this but very few, ये answer नहीं हो सकता. This is a classic trap, okay, and it's a popular trap in critical reasoning. See this. All adult male marmosets showed increased testosterone levels when presented with the scent of an ovulating female. But very few showed decreased testosterone levels when presented with the scent of an infant. So, what did the experiment say about fathers and non-fathers when presented with the scent of an infant? तो पैराग्राफ बहुत क्लियर था that जब fathers को हमने present करा ना with the scent of an infant, their testosterone levels decreased, but non-fathers did not show any effect. Non-fathers did not show any effect. उनका same रहा. So in this case, when I say but very few showed decreased testosterone levels when presented with the scent of an infant, it's quite possible, no, that in this study, in this experiment that is being conducted, what happened? There were very few fathers. Okay. So see, the question says all of the following if true. अगर ये सब सच है, तो अगर ऐसा हुआ भी, right, does that weaken my study's findings? No, it's quite possible that in this experiment there were very few fathers, and then this is going to happen, that very few will show a decrease in testosterone level. Yes? Okay. All adult male marmosets, see, they showed increased testosterone levels when presented with the scent of an ovulating female. This is something that actually corresponds with what the findings also said. फाइंडिंग्स ने बोला था कि जब इंक्रीज किया ना, जब ये वाला ओव्यूलेटिंग फीमेल प्रेजेंट किया तो सबका ही इंक्रीज हुआ था. सी दिस, इट्स जस्ट दैट देयर वाज अ डिफरेंस इन द लेवल्स. इंक्रीज सबका हुआ था हियर. सो when they presented adult male marmosets with the scent of an ovulating female, testosterone levels skyrocketed as if preparing the males for mating. तो increase सबका हुआ था. It's just that for fathers the increase was relatively less. Increase हुआ था, but for fathers it was relatively blunted. Make sense? Yes, Mihir, absolutely correct. Absolutely. Chalo, good that you are explaining. You're clarifying each other's confusion. That's the best, benefit of peer study. I hope this is clear to you. Why C is the answer. Okay then, let's come to question 4. Question 4, last question. Which of the following set of key terms best captures the essence of the passage? Passage ka main message. Yes. Rahul has answered. What about others? Okay. A, D. What else? Okay. Pramodini, why do you think D? So remember when we said that, okay, broad topic kya hai? So I told you that it talks about fathers. Yeah, the focus of this passage is fathers. So how can D be the answer then? Because it says maternal transformation, hormone comparison, testosterone decline, oxytocin increase. So these two I buy, right? But maternal transformation. So okay, I understand. So okay, let's discuss this then. A, B, D. This is what I've got. So C, everybody has eliminated. Happy to see that. D, maternal transformation is not the focus. C says bird research, right? It was only fleetingly mentioned. Bird research. Is that the key central message of this passage? No. So even this is eliminated, right? Primate care. So primate care could be anything. We are talking about caregiving in particular. So looking at these phrases with a keen eye is very important. Primate care, तो primate की care भी तो हो सकती है, rather than primates caregiving to their children. Okay. Now between A and B, see this hormonal changes in fathers, marmoset monkeys, testosterone modulation. Okay, I asked you what represents the essence of the passage. The passage is trying to tell us that fatherhood changes the testosterone levels in men. Testosterone levels become less. Also, an important message is that testosterone is a hormone that can interfere with parenting. How? It presents a choice. It's a mating hormone. It's a sex hormone in males, right? So it can actually interfere with parenting, and that's why perhaps when men become fathers, the testosterone levels decrease, right? This is also a key idea that is presented in the passage. So that's why this phrase mating versus parenting actually represents that testosterone creates this choice. Okay. So testosterone decrease in fathers, mating versus parenting, oxytocin increase again discussed in the last paragraph, and it leads to father-infant bonding again discussed in the last paragraph, right? So these are mentioned. When I talk about testosterone modulation, so testosterone increase or decrease हो रहा है men में, it's not like somebody is modulating it. कोई ऐसा तो नहीं है ना कि कोई deliberately changes कर रहे हैं हम once men become fathers. Modulation is a deliberate act. Okay, similarly oxytocin promotion. This this happened in the last study. I agree. They gave a nasal spray. But that's not the key idea that is being put forth. वो स्टडी में एज एन एक्सपेरिमेंट हमने करा था, बट आइडियाज क्या है इसमें कि ये होता है, ठीक है, टेस्टोस्टेरोन ये चॉइस प्रेजेंट करता है, ऑक्सीटोसिन इंक्रीज होता है वंस मेन बिकम फादर्स, एंड इट प्रमोट्स फादर इन्फेंट बॉन्डिंग. दैट्स व्हाई. आई होप दिस इज क्लियर टू यू. हाँ जी, any query? All right, mate, I hope this has helped. Any query, please ask. These were the 4 questions. So we saw a passage that was not very difficult in terms of wording, but it contained a lot of studies, each study with its own finding, studies with their own, presenting their own findings and that contributed to the main idea of the passage, which required retention and then elimination. Most of these questions that we did today were critical reasoning based questions, right? And the question stems were complicated at times, the options were lengthy, so that made this question wise, this was a moderate to difficult passage. Okay, that's great, Shubham. 3 out of 4 correct is a great score, and I would really encourage you to read this entire article. It's a long read. Okay, it's called The Biology of Dads in Eon, right? And in case, let's say, you want to branch out to more zoology related articles, then you have a number of sources. Smithsonian Mag will have them, Scientific American will have them, The New Scientist will have them. So all these science related magazines, and also Nature magazine, that will also have it. Okay, so Scientific American, Smithsonian, New Scientist, Nature. Okay, all right. And yes, I would suggest this, start practicing some easy level RC topic tests. Okay, you are in that stage right now, you can start practicing. So they are there on your portal if you're enrolled with us. Otherwise, you will find them, on the internet, or if you're enrolled somewhere else, right? So start practicing some tests. So this is it from my end for today. Any queries, please ask. You're welcome, Mihir. And thank you all of you for attending. I'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. with an editorial analysis. Right? Can we read Times of India? Is it... So Pramodini, instead of Times of India, I would suggest Indian Express. Because see, the difficulty level is only slightly higher. Okay, only slightly higher, and this I would say is more relevant to the kind of passages that you get, the tone, the vocabulary, etc. So I would recommend that. Okay, TOI may be problem nahi hai, but it's a very mainstream, like a pop newspaper, right? So this is what I would recommend. Yes, there will be a class tomorrow. Welcome. Bye. See you tomorrow.